Welcome everybody to Side Effect, Flickr Effect podcasts. This might be a weekly kind of bonus episode kind of thing. We kind of don't know what we're doing with this, but here we are, and it's me, David Lott, and Bobby Jackson. What's up, Bobby?
Hey, what's up? Not much. It's the inaugural episode of Side Effects. So, yeah, let's see where this goes.
Yeah, and for now, I mean, this will be part of the regular Flickr Effect kind of stream, if you will, release. Like, yeah, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
Just ignore me. Um, so yeah.
you don't have to go anywhere else to look for it. It'll be in the same
Thanks.
feed as the
Thanks for
normal show.
speaking logically. Thanks, Bobby. I need that.
No
Um,
problem.
yeah. Yay midweek work. Um,
Exactly.
so yeah, this is a Wednesday. We record the normal show Sunday nights, but we thought it'd be nice to do something on the side in the midweek. We don't really get a chance to talk about news anymore on the regular show, which is kind of a bummer. I mean, it's a bummer because I miss talking about news, but it's like we're really trying to make an effort to keep the show to a reasonable length. I feel like if there was a common complaint I would hear from people I know who listen to the show, they'd be like, "Oh, the episodes were too long. They were way too long. They were 2 hours, 3 hours long." And that was something I was something I've never had a problem with because I listen to lots of podcasts that are pretty long, and because I don't sit and just listen to a podcast in one sitting. I listen to it in segments. Like, okay, I'm in the car for 30 minutes. I listen to it. Okay, get out of the car, and I'll pick it back up later. But
Yeah, that's how I am too.
yeah, but I don't know. It was a common thing. So we're trying to make an effort to keep that show down to an hour. Usually ends up being like an hour and 15 or so, but whatever. But yeah, it's Wednesday, and so what's up? Yeah, I guess it's hard not to talk about Avengers: Infinity War.
Extremely hard not to talk about that. I mean,
So why don't we just talk
other
about it?
Yeah, aside from the Matt Lauer stuff, the only other thing to talk about today is Avengers: Infinity War.
Yeah. So what that dropped during GMA this morning, I guess.
hmm
Um,
Which I didn't know about because I hadn't read anything about when it was supposed to drop today.
oh,
I just
okay.
knew it was dropping. So I'm up early because I got to get ready for work and everything, and I'm usually checking the news feeds, and I saw it was there, and I was like, awesome, this is good because that means it gives, I guess, other people in the industry and media a chance to see it and talk about it as opposed to dropping after they've done their shows or whatever the case may be. So I didn't know it came on GMA this morning. I just saw that it was on one of my news feeds and then I just checked it out from there.
Yeah, I did see something about that yesterday, I guess, in our kind of group texting yesterday. That never came out, but I do remember seeing it was going to be on GMA. Because this all started, like a couple days ago when the Russo brothers on their Instagram and their Twitter started posting these pictures of numbers. Kind of,
hmm
it seemed like a countdown. But to me, my logical thinking, okay, you're doing 3 on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, 1 on Wednesday. That would mean like, okay, one more day. It should be dropping Thursday. That's how I logically think. But no, we're just gonna have it drop on the one. All right, whatever.
And we even specifically talked about it because
We did.
every time I every time I hear someone say something like a countdown, it always reminds me of Lethal Weapon. And when what is it? Murtaugh is sitting on the toilet with the bomb, and they're like, "Are you going to go on one, or are you going to go on
Right, right, right.
zero?" And so you never know, like how people are counting down. So I always think about that.
So yeah, they went ahead and tweeted and Instagram the one like early this morning. I mean, early this morning, even on the East Coast. Going, okay, remember to set your clocks or something like that for GMA, I guess. And yeah, dropped this morning. So what'd you think, buddy?
So what I think, so we did get a chance to see some footage back
Yeah.
at the time when they had it at San Diego Comic-Con, and prior to that, they had showed footage also at D23. So my expectations were leveled out in the sense that I've seen stuff from it. So my anticipation was more of what else else are they going to show, or how much of the story they're going to get into. And when I watched the trailer, I gotta say, the first time I watched it, I was like, that was good. I liked it. And then I watched it a second time, and then I think it started to get to me because the the score, the Silvestri score of the Avengers theme, just starts to kick in, and you really notice how it's somber at first, and towards the end of the trailer, it gets more sounding heroic, and that really resonated with me a lot. And then there was also certain things I was picking up as I was slowing it down and really taking in and trying to analyze what's probably going on in this. And it really started to feel kind of epic to me because I started to really look at the dynamics of what the trailer was showing you, where you've kind of got Cap's team in Wakanda with Black Panther and everyone else, and then you've got Tony's team in New York. And so they're separated literally by continent, and that they are probably not even going to get together in this movie in Avengers 3 because they're probably going to be bombarded with hordes of Thanos's legion of his army, and so they're being divided in that sense where they can't get together and fight this enemy. He's sort of doing the divide and conquer thing, and yet you know that they're all going to eventually have to come together to defeat Thanos. And you see as you're watching this trailer that he's going about collecting the gems, and he's going to just take them from whoever and wherever they are. And so it builds towards that. And then that final shot when you see them in Wakanda with Captain America leading the way, and he's right beside Black Panther, and then there's Black Widow in there, and you also got the Incredible Hulk and Falcon, and I guess War Machine and Bucky, and it's just like, and it's a slow mo running towards the camera shot, and it's just like that looks like it's going to be awesome. And honestly, I think the only real complaint I had about the trailer is I think I had it initially with Thanos. And that was because I'm so used to the way he looked in the comic books, and even in that first teaser that you get after the Avengers, the first movie where you see him, that's the classic look of him. But since then, Josh Brolin came into the role, and he did the motion capture and the voice, and so they've started to try and mold the look of Thanos after Josh Brolin to a certain degree, and also with the voice. So my expectation, I guess, was that Thanos's voice would be a little bit deeper, more grovelly. The look would be more classic to the comics and everything. But I think after I've now seen it, I haven't gone crazy in terms of how many times I watch it. I've probably watched it like maybe 3 or 4 times. And as I start to kind of see it that many times, I'm starting to get used to the way he's looking, even though it's not necessarily the way I would want him to look. But I do see that within the structure of his face, it looks more realistic, sort of like what's going on with Caesar when you look at the Planet of the Apes movies. There's more detail there. There's more. It looks cleaner as opposed to what you got with Steppenwolf and Justice League. This looks mountains of loads better than what you got there, and I think that that's probably my guess. One of the reasons why he's not so heavily CGI'd and armored, and maybe that's a little bit clunkier looking when you try and make that movement and motion as opposed to more of a stripped down version of the character. So I don't know. I mean, I'm still in the process of getting used to it, but overall, that's like if I did have something to complain about, that'd probably be it. What about you? What you kind of think of this
I
trailer?
don't know. I feel like this is a common theme on the show where one of us talks and the rest of us go, "Oh, well, it's what you said," but you, God, you almost fucking nailed it, dude. Like, I mean, yeah. I think, we talked about the stuff we saw at Comic Con, obviously, after we saw that when we were there. And I think I remember, if everyone remembers, I was kind of ho hum on it. honestly.
Yeah,
Um,
you were.
I don't know, and I felt like overall I had a very kind of the stuff we saw just kind of had a faker look to it. But I also get that they were still deep in post production, and a lot of times when they show stuff at Comic Con, they know that they're just basically showing stuff to a fan base who's going to basically almost love it no matter what, and
Hmm.
they can get away with that kind of thing. Hence why they never released it. I mean, so many people were complaining, like, "Oh man, why isn't Marvel putting this out there in the net? Why aren't they releasing this to the public?" And I'm like, I would say that's probably the biggest reason why, because they can get away with that in Hall H, but everywhere else, it's like it wasn't really ready for public consumption, kind of thing.
Hmm.
And yeah, now they put this out, and overall, this definitely looks better. Just even a lot of the shots that we saw in that footage, I can tell they just look better now.
Yeah.
And so when I first watched it, I was like, that looks good. I mean, I'm not blown away by it, but it looks
Hmm.
good. But yeah, same thing with the Thanos thing. I mean, everything I was going to say, you pretty much said it. It's like ever since Josh Brolin has come into the role, they're obviously making Thanos basically kind of look like Josh Brolin. And I think because has this kind of more realistic, he has a more realistic look to his face, like a real person. And yes, the work is good, it looks good, but at the same time, because of that, it almost makes it look like someone in makeup kind of thing. It almost makes it look more fake at the same time.
Mm.
Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's just a quick shot at the end of the first Avengers, right? When you see Thanos
Yeah.
and stuff like that, I felt like it looked more comic booky, but that worked more for me. This
Hmm.
like this looks like they're trying too hard to make it look real, and it's because you're really going that full, like, okay, we're trying to make it look like a real person. Then it's almost like, oh man, if you can't go all the way, then it doesn't look quite right, and that's where I am with it.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm saying this is someone who's not like a never read a lot of Marvel, so it's not like the look of Thanos is super important to me. I'm saying I just think he doesn't look as good as he did in that other stuff we saw. So that's what bums me out about the footage. But and I say bums me out. It's not. I mean, it looks good. I've watched the trailer a few times now, and
Hmm.
I watched it while I was at work on my phone, which looks fine, looks good on my phone. But yeah, when I got home, I watched it on a big TV, and yeah, I mean, it's a good trailer. But yeah, again, it definitely looks better than that stuff we saw at Comic Con. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of where
I
I am
really
with it.
like. I think I really like the idea of them setting the table in a way that you're just expecting this epic end to this whole series of movies that they've had through all the phases, and everything starts to look in a way that you would want it to look coming from a comic book experience where you see in one of the shots that they're in Doctor Strange's mansion or his home, where you see Doctor Strange and you also see Tony Stark and Bruce Banner and uh, I forget the other person who is uh, his right hand man, Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah, see, I don't remember his name either.
Gosh, I can't remember his name. That's gonna bug me. But you see them together, and it's just those things, those moments where people who've been watching all these movies have been anticipating and waiting to see some of these characters interact together that in a way that they haven't been able to just yet. So I think they're definitely going to give us that and give it to us in a way that it plays off of it naturally of those characters and how those interactions would be seeing them together. And then you see at that last sort of, I guess it must be like a post trailer shot where you see Thor and him meeting up with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and you're just in that mind frame of like, yeah, there's those guys too. We saw all this other stuff going on,
Mm-hmm.
and then you see the Guardians, and it's you just know it's just gonna be this epic thing, and I mean, what, we're 6 months out, so May can't get here fast enough, I think.
Right. I mean, I would say among the many, I'm sure, plot lines that'll be going on in that movie with the amount of characters we're dealing with, I think the thing I crave the most right now from the MCU is Vision. Like,
Mm,
I don't know, like I really liked his character in Age of Ultron a lot. And yeah, we get some of him in Civil War as well, but we
hmm
haven't had a lot of him yet. And the stuff we see in this, he seems like he's obviously, since he has an Infinity Stone in his head, um,
Yeah.
he definitely plays a major role. But I'm just I when I think of the MCU and where it's going, that's like the one character I think I'm the most like interested in knowing more about and seeing more of. And I guess it seems like there's kind of a relationship going on between him and Scarlet Witch in this, and
hmm
yeah,
Yeah, they're definitely playing it like the comics
yeah,
in that regard. So it's pretty cool getting to see everything that they're doing with this and just to finally have it here. Because I was mentioning in the comment in our text thread that it seems like the anticipation for this trailer has been on the level of what usually people anticipate a Star Wars trailer. Because it's just been, especially within the last, I guess, maybe 2, 3 weeks, people have been relentless about saying, when are we getting this trailer? And I guess I would have been in that same boat if I hadn't seen anything at Comic-Con. I'd probably be just like them and waiting and demanding. And it's like, come on, guys, like, what are you waiting for? Because at least I got to see something, so I wasn't as I up in arms about not getting to see a trailer as a lot of people were. I mean, to flat out demand a trailer is pretty crazy.
yeah. No, I've noticed the same thing. I mean, the Russo brothers posted something like on their Instagram like a few weeks ago where I forget what it was a clip from. Basically,
He was like Orson Welles,
yeah, that's right.
we will serve no wine before it's time.
Before it's time, just because they have so many people just bugging them like for this, and I guess yeah, I get what you're saying because yeah, my perspective, I guess, because I saw the stuff at Comic Con, I haven't been dying as much to see something because I'm like, well, I've seen something, and
hmm
not to sound like a snob about it, like, ooh,
Right.
we got to see shit at Comic Con. Fuck the rest of you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been pretty exciting getting to have it out there. And I've even looked online when it's something big like this. I enjoy seeing those fan reactions. And it looks like it's been received pretty well. It's gotten such a positive response from a lot of the people that had been waiting for so long for it. And they really, this is their first taste as opposed to us where it is sort of our second taste of it, and they really are eating it up. And it looks like now it's going to be that guessing game of how much over 200 million will Avengers 3 open to, because it looks
Right.
like it's definitely going to be in the $200 million club.
Yeah, that's why. Because I agree with you. The reaction today on the internet, scrolling through my Instagram feed and Facebook and such, it's like just an overwhelming, absolute, like crazy positive response.
hmm
And then it makes me feel like, I mean, then it makes me feel really ho hum about the trailer. It makes me feel like a grumpy old man who like isn't as into it or something because I'm not. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good. I'm can't wait for the movie, but I didn't react to it that way, So it's like
hmm
I'm seeing all this stuff and I'm like, God, is there something wrong with me? Especially
Well,
after I've reacted to some of the other Marvel stuff lately in theaters, and then this comes out and
right.
everyone's freaking out, and I'm just like, I mean, yeah, it looks good, everybody, but I don't
And
know.
I think, like, sort of how we were talking about earlier, is that we did get to see this
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
at San Diego Comic Con,
right.
so it's tempered our
Yeah,
anticipation somewhat.
no, I get
But
that.
I think that beyond just that, they also, and I won't say specifics, but they also showed us some things that weren't in this trailer, and I think some of those moments are things that, especially for the crowd that was at San Diego Comic Con, is really comic booky type stuff that you just don't see in a movie of this magnitude. And so they didn't, I think on purpose, they didn't show some of those things that they showed, sort of the money shot of the San Diego Comic-Con trailer. They didn't show in this trailer because they're either saving it for maybe a later trailer or maybe just saving it for the movie in general. Because that was such a the one big thing people would talk about who did get to see the footage at San Diego Comic Con or at D23 was sort of that money shot. And so I'm thinking that for us, we got to see, and as you said, it wasn't all completely done and it looking as good as it's looking now, but we did get to see some more jump out of your seat type moments than most people saw with this trailer. So for this trailer, it wasn't, I think, for people who saw the San Diego Comic Con stuff, I think this trailer was more about just setting the table and giving you a good first look at some of the aspects of how things are coming together.
Right.
And as opposed to the Comic Con trailer, which was just like in your face, hit you over the head with some great, huge action scene, beats and stuff like that, that would get any crowd excited. And so also for this first look for anyone who wasn't at Comic Con, this is just getting to see this for the first time and getting to see these characters together
Right.
is enough for them to get super excited. Whereas we're kind of like, oh, we kind of seen this a little bit already, but I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. Um. So yeah, we got what, 8 or 10 minutes left. Other than this, I don't
Yeah,
know about you. I've been living in Star Wars world for now the past, like, I feel like couple weeks especially. Like, dude, you believe we're like 2 weeks away?
I know. It
Like,
it really is hard to believe
it's hard to believe.
because we've been going for so long just trying to avoid the spoilers and trailers. And so because of that, I haven't been listening to some of the podcasts I would listen to that were Star Wars centric, and I've just been outside the Star Wars bubble for a little bit. So the time has kind of moved by without me really noticing it. And plus you had Thanksgiving and everything. So now it's kind of coming back around to me because it's getting that much closer. And you've been, as you mentioned, playing Star Wars Battlefront, and you've also been listening to some of the other books that are canon. So now it's like right there in my head again, and especially knowing that we're just 2 weeks out. It's exciting, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing the same thing. I used to, for example, like pretty regularly at night sit down on the Apple TV and scroll through like my YouTube subscription and kind of look through videos that I might want to watch. I haven't really even been doing that because I kind of got out of that practice right after the trailer dropped, and I didn't want to
Hmm.
even see anything. And now I haven't even still really been doing it because of occasional stuff popping up. And
Yep.
but yeah, I've been kind of, since Battlefront 2 came out, I've been playing that. I've been trying to catch up on some of the Star Wars books I haven't read, but I've been listening to them on Audible. And I just finished Bloodline today, which that was a pre Force Awakens book, but I never got around to it before Force Awakens, which was excellent. That was a really good book. Um, yeah, I've just been in like an absolute just Star Wars mindset. So much so that it's like I want to talk about it with like everybody, and people who are like, "Oh, David, I don't give a fuck that Leia discovered this in this book. Like, I don't care." I'm like, "But oh my god, this is so crazy." I'm like, no one cares. It's fine. No one cares what I
Yeah.
saw in Battlefront when I got through this mission or whatever. It's fine.
How far are you now?
In Battlefront, I'm
Yeah.
like halfway through, I think. I haven't had a lot of time to play it the past handful of days.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think I'm about halfway through the campaign. And I mean, I'm not much. I'm no gamer. I'll, I own a PS4. I would say I've been playing it more lately than I ever have, being mainly because of Battlefront 2, coming out.
Yeah.
Um, And I mean, like when you play the campaign, it seems like you kind of have like three levels of like difficulty you could choose from on how to play it, and I picked the middle one.
Hmm.
And for the most part, I'm going through it, and I'm like, I'm no gamer. This isn't that hard. I'm like, come on, like I can do this. Like maybe I should have picked the hard one. And then I got to like one mission where I was just like, what the fuck? Now suddenly I hit like a wall. But yeah,
Oh,
I'm moving along past. I moved along past that. I just got to. Well, I won't say anything since I guess it's canon, so it's spoilers, right?
yeah,
I mean,
it would be spoilers.
yeah. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's good. It's. I mean, there's been a lot of drama around Battlefront and EA and how they handled everything in it,
Hmm.
but the campaign is good. That's. I mean, I can speak for that. Yeah, I go on multiplayer on that game and forget it, dude. I just get annihilated. Then that's when
Yeah.
my lack of gaming skills really shows because I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, I that's the thing with me. I haven't been any good at those type of games for a long time. I think the one that I did okay, and that's a big okay, was Halo when that first came out
Mm,
originally.
yeah,
And I say that, but it's I remember playing multiplayer with that, and most times I was getting lit up. And it's just that a lot of guys that are really into those first person shooters, either they played them a lot on the PC or they just played it a lot in consoles and just have a lot of time to play those games where they get really good at it. And I don't play them as often, so the same controller mechanics that I've had since way back then, I still have today, where the guys that are good at it can move and shoot like nobody's business, where I feel like I have to stand still and be far enough away, and
yeah.
then I can get a good shot in and I can get a good headshot. But it's like
You got to take that time to
I
aim and
gotta be quick.
everything, and
Can't be, yeah, I can't be strafing, I can't be running and shooting at the same time with any kind of accuracy.
right.
I just am
I
not
just want to
that
be a
good.
sniper. Can I just find a
Yeah,
little hiding spot where no one can see me, and I
exactly.
will shoot people in the head all day long on a game? But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, if I
no,
gotta rush into battle, I'm gonna die
dude,
most
I'm
times in
same
those
boat as
games.
you. I'll do the campaign stuff and be like, oh man, I'm fine. I can do this. I'll jump into multiplayer. Forget it. I did that. I played some FIFA soccer, and I was playing FIFA, and I'm like, oh man, I'm playing the computer. I'm doing all right. I'm getting a handle of this, and I'm winning matches. Oh, I'll go play a multiplayer. With somebody, and I lost like 10-0. This
Yeah.
guy's just scoring goals like it's nothing. He's probably laughing back at his house like, the fuck is this guy? Anyway,
And I haven't played multiplayer in a long time because I know I just suck at it. But do they have anything in multiplayer? I don't know if they have it for Xbox or if they have it for PS4 or neither, but do they have something where they can put you in a room with people who are on the same level as you? Like, oh, they've only played this game. It shows like they played this game for 20 hours or whatever. And so you kind of can get a gauge of like, oh, well, these people have only played this game for this long and they set themselves as novice. So, or does it just put you in
I
and
mean,
you're
you're talking
just
about
uh,
Battlefront specifically.
any multiplayer game,
I mean,
really?
I'm sure some are that way, but I will say from my experience, Battlefront doesn't seem to be that way.
Mm.
I don't think you have that option. It's just
Mm.
like you have
They just
different
drop
types of
you in.
multiplayer kind of setups to do different kind of mission types and such, but it doesn't
Mm.
seem to be kind of curated to, oh, well, if you're going in, you're probably going to be with people around your same level. Like I started picking back up Battlefront, the first Battlefront before this one came out, and it was just there was no campaign in that Battlefront. So I mean, there's some single player mission stuff you can do, but most of it, you're just doing multiplayer. And I'd go on multiplayer, and I'd be surrounded by people who were wearing stuff like they were wearing the like shore trooper armor from Rogue One, and I
Hmm.
looked that
Hmm.
up, and I'm like, the amount of credits you had to have to get that. I'm like, these people. That's all these people have been doing is just playing this game. Like, so obviously
Mm.
in that case, I was stuck in a room with people who way more experienced than me, and it seems like
Yeah.
Battlefront 2 is the same way. So
Definitely
it's
takes the
nice
fun
that
out of
this one has a campaign in it, and it's interesting. And I mean, especially considering the campaign is, I guess, canon. It's it's
it. Yeah.
interesting. I mean, because you're definitely not, as everyone knows, it's centered around Iden Versio. She's a member of Inferno Squad for the Empire. But you're running across. I'll just say, occasionally you're encountering like hero characters from the original trilogy and such, and knowing that this is canon, it's like, oh, okay, like this is interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Kind of filling in some space between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. So anyway,
Yeah. It's definitely cool in that aspect, knowing that you're playing something that's official part of the Star Wars lore.
right. Yeah, it's cool. I want to finish the campaign. I'd probably be done by now if I had more time to play it, but because the campaign doesn't seem like it's probably very long.
Yeah.
So, which is fine because I'm not,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm not a gamer. If the campaign were as long as I think it is in a lot of games, I'd probably be like, oh man, I'm never getting through this.
True. Yeah. I think
Like
I've heard it's maybe about 15 hours or so.
yeah, okay, yeah. I hadn't heard a length in terms of hours. Well, I guess we're about out of time. I wanted to mention real quick. We talked about Lady Bird on the last episode. You and I saw it, and Michelle. And as you probably know, Bobby, it broke a record this week on Rotten Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
It has, I guess, the longest streak of 100%, or the longest streak of fresh reviews. And if I'm reading correctly, it seems like the first record holder was Toy Story 2 with 163 fresh reviews. And this reached 164 reviews that were
Mm-hmm.
fresh. I'm just checking right now. It's actually up to 178 at this point.
Oh, wow.
It's still 100%. It's pretty impressive. I would say the only negative about this now is that when people, I think, see that, okay, Lady Bird is the record holder on Rotten Tomatoes for 100% reviews, then they may go into it thinking that this, oh, holy shit, this is going to be amazing. Like, and let's all calm down a little bit. I mean, I thought this movie was excellent. And it sounds like you liked it too, though definitely not as much. And I mean, we'll definitely agree to disagree on the stuff that you didn't like. But I thought the movie
Mm-hmm.
was excellent. But is it like a game changer? No. I mean, you know what I mean? I
No.
could see that. I could see that being almost a negative now that it's like now garnered as, it's heralded as the record holder on Rotten Tomatoes for fresh reviews. It's interesting. But I mean, I'm not saying it's not worthy of that. I thought it was an excellent film. Anyway.
Y- Yeah, I think it is interesting, and we'll see how long it goes because, as we all have discussed multiple times, it's just most people that have given it, I guess if you gave it a 1 out of 10 scale, people at least gave it a 6. So it
Right.
means that they didn't think by far that it was this perfect movie, but they liked it enough to give it a
The
positive score.
positive
And
route. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, and so there's been no negative scores basically. So yeah, I could see it lasting a lot longer
But
based
yeah,
on that.
because the movie's in kind of limited release still, it's definitely the counter is going to continue to go up. This isn't like a major release that goes wide release to 4,000 screens on the first weekend, where pretty much the reviews get counted over a week and they're done. Like this
Mm,
counter will probably continue to tick, so it'll be interesting to see who gets to be the first guy to go. You know what? I'm going to give this a negative review just so I can be that guy. Like,
yeah, exactly.
which yeah, what was it? What's his name for? It was earlier this year, wasn't it? For Get Out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I forget his name.
Yeah, but they say it's that same guy.
Yeah, I think he did the same thing to like Toy Story 3 back in the day, and
Hmm.
he actually used to do the occasional episode on the Slash Filmcasts. He's an interesting character. I'll say that much. Uh, um,
Yeah, and I was surprised he didn't give Lady Bird a negative just for the sake of doing it.
so has he reviewed it? Do we know?
As soon as I said that, I realized I don't even know if he's
Oh,
reviewed it.
okay.
It seems like he does review pretty much everything, so I just figured he reviewed it and actually gave it a positive.
Yeah, something you know what? Something tells me he hasn't reviewed it yet. It's just I don't know. Knowing that guy and the stuff I've heard come out of his mouth, I would not
Hmm.
be surprised that he would take a negative slant on this movie. It would not shock me whatsoever. So
No.
I don't know. Something tells me he hasn't reviewed it yet. But if I would quickly look it up if I could remember his name, but I can't. So
Yeah, I can't either.
and it's pretty much time to wrap up. So I know we said we were going to talk about some news, and mostly we just talked about a trailer. But hopefully we'll get to keep doing this
Yeah,
midweek.
it's fun. I
Midweeks.
like it.
I hesitate to say that this is a definite every Wednesday because it's like we all have full time jobs and we're all like trying to figure this out how to add some more content. But yeah, if we can continue to do this at least one day in the midweek, doesn't have to be Wednesday, but
And maybe it will be different permeations. Like maybe one day it'd be you and Michelle, or one day it'd be you
yeah,
and Yasha, or maybe all of us one day.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it'd be kind of
definitely,
cool. Just keep it going.
definitely. And I know we've also talked about hopefully getting these on. Well, right now the audio versions of this will probably be on YouTube, but actually getting video, at least of the
Hmm.
studio here in Orlando, on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, look out for that. So hopefully that'll start happening. All right. Well, I guess that's it. What's coming out next weekend? Real quick,
This weekend or next
this
weekend?
coming weekend.
The only one I know of for sure is The Disaster Artist.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned you were asking earlier in the week of us, has anyone seen The Room, the actual film The Room that the Disaster Artist is based on?
Hmm.
And I never have. I remember I lived in LA for a couple of years, and I remember when I was there. I don't know, is it still playing on Sunset? Like, does it have like a
I
permanent
hear that
home on
it's
Sunset?
still. You know what? I hear that it still does, but like, from what I understand, it was almost doing it every week or weekend, but now I think they might do it once a month or something like that. But I'm sure with the movie coming out, it'll probably be some midnight showings or some showings around somewhere around here. And I think I had heard something to the effect of uh, there was this movie. I think it cost, I want to say 3 million to make the movie or something like that, or 6 million.
Right.
But because they keep showing it so much and people keep turning out to see it just because it's like bad,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually made a profit now, which is crazy to think. This movie that's really bad
Yeah,
that
I get it
ended up being
though.
made for so much, it made a profit.
Right. I mean, quick backstory for anyone listening, know what we're talking about. I mean, yeah, The Room seems to be considered one of, if not the worst, like movie ever made. I mean, I never had heard of it until I moved to LA, and occasionally I'd drive down Sunset. I forget what street it was near, and there was some venue or something over there where I remember I would always see the sign for The Room, and I'd be like, "What the hell is that?" I just kind of almost just didn't really think much about it, and then I started to kind of hear the jokes around town about, "Oh, The Room, like it's this terrible thing." I'm like, "Oh, so this is something that's bad." I'm like, "All right," but I never went and saw it. And it's interesting you asked this week if any of us have actually seen it, and our local art house theater, the Enzian, is showing it this, I think, Friday night. Friday night, the 8th. So part of me is like, I'd be tempted to go see that because I've never seen it
Hmm.
before. And then yeah, the
Me either.
Disaster Artist is coming out, which is based on that. Which what does it stars James Franco as that filmmaker, right?
Right, yeah.
And Dave Franco's in it, Seth Rogen's in it. Who else is all is in it? Allison Brie, Zac Efron, Bryan
Seth
Cranston.
Rogen. Did you say Seth Rogen?
Yeah, Seth Rogen. I mentioned him. Uh, a lot of people. Sharon
And I hear
Stone.
that there's even surprises, yeah.
Oh,
So maybe some
really?
of those names might be. not officially out there. I mean, you've seen it, but I don't think in the marketing they've really shown some of the people that are gonna pop up in the movie. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay. So yeah, I'm definitely interested to see the Disaster Artist. And yeah, it's interesting looking at the schedule this weekend. It seems like there's like no wide new releases coming out this weekend. It's like all limited releases on December 1st.
yeah.
So yeah, that's what's going on this weekend. I don't know if the Disaster Artist is going to be playing near me. If it is, I'll go see it. If not, I don't know what I'm going to see. And it looks like the Disaster Artist pretty much goes wide on December 8th. But I don't know if what I'm looking at is updated. Like maybe it's going wider this coming weekend than they originally planned. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny looking at the December calendar because trust me, it like it just hit me a couple days ago where I was like, oh fuck, our top 10 shows coming.
Yeah.
and, and it's that typical like month of December where I'm like, oh man, it's gonna be December where all these movies are coming out that I gotta see. But I don't know. It's interesting this year. I feel like when I look at the December calendar, it doesn't seem like it's full of stuff that is like, oh my god, I gotta see all this stuff like in previous years. And I don't know if that's because of Star Wars. Like Star Wars is just scaring everything off so much. But I have a bad feeling that there's a lot this year that's playing that game where it's coming out limited in LA and New York in order to make it for, you know, award contention. But I'm not going to get to see any of these movies until mid January, you know? So, anyway, hopefully I don't have that problem with too many films. But
Yeah. I know. I think I should be okay. There's probably going to be a few that I need to see that hopefully I'll be able to see. And I don't know if I had mentioned this, but I got my movie pass. I don't know if I
oh,
mentioned it
yeah,
on
that's
Sunday.
right.
And so now I'm able to go and see movies uh, every day if I wanted to. And as long as it's not the same movie, but that's fine with me. And it's pretty cool being able to just use it. And I saw at least five or six sets of people, different people, using the movie pass. So it's actually become a thing to where people understand and know what it is. And it's not just young people using it. I saw a couple that was looked like in their mid to late 60s, and they had the movie pass app out and the card with them and was going to go see a movie as well. So yeah, I mean, who knows how long they can sustain the business model that they're doing, but for sure, I'm gonna keep using it for as long as they keep letting it be used. So it's been working out pretty well.
I mean, at the price that they're doing it, right? I assume they're still doing it at that price, right?
Yeah, $10 a month.
Because I mean, I mentioned before, I had it back when it really first
Right.
started, and I can't remember what I was paying for it at the time.
Definitely wasn't $10.
It definitely wasn't
I,
10, but the math still worked where it was like definitely worth it for me.
hmm
And then I got to a point in my work schedule and the family with the kids and everything where seeing more than one movie a week was just definitely not happening. So then with only like one movie a week, it seemed like, okay, this isn't really worth it anymore.
And you should pay for the 6 month one because now what they've done, I don't know if you knew this, they've gotten tiered cards. So you
Okay.
can pay for a year straight out, or you can pay for 6 months straight out, or you can pay for 3 months straight out. And then it's like, I think, let's say if you got the 6 month one, it's maybe $60. So you figure you're going to at least see six movies within 6 month period, if not more.
Oh, yeah.
So then again, it pays for itself
But
and
again,
you wouldn't have
is
to
the
worry about it.
model still like you can only see it in like a standard theater?
Yeah, but there is a different one called, I think, Cinemia or something like that, where it will allow you to see movies that are in, let's say, the Dolby or in IMAX.
Right.
And I think the cost of it is a little bit more, but you do get those extra perks out of it.
Yeah, and that would be my question, I guess. Especially because I'm still in a situation where like usually seeing more than one movie a week is tough.
hmm
And a lot of times because I'm only seeing one movie a week and there's so many big films coming out these days, it's like I'm seeing movies in Dolby Cinema pretty regularly. And it ain't cheap. but
No, it's not.
but I'm addicted to it. It's like if it's a big film, I'm like Star Wars, I'm seeing it in Dolby Cinema. Blade Runner, I'm seeing it in Dolby Cinema. You know, Justice League, I'm seeing it in Dolby Cinema. It's just how I am now. I'm a snob about it, and so that's why I'm like, if I'm seeing Dolby Cinema already so much, if I get Movie Pass, is it worth it to me? Like, am I gonna get a chance to see other movies? Really? I don't know. I
Well,
gotta sit
yeah,
down and do the
and
math and figure it out.
yeah, I would say do the math, and then also what some people are doing, and what I'm considering doing is getting that other card as well, that Cinemia one. I think, like I said, I think it's called that, and then to where because you can see other formats such as Dolby or IMAX, and it also you can reserve seats. Then it's like, well, if it's a big movie you want to go see that you know will probably be sold out, then I'll use my Cinemia card and get reserved the seat for a Dolby Theater showing and go watch that. And then if there's some one of these independent movies like a Lady Bird that comes out, then I'll just bust out my movie pass and go see that one. And I'm still, if you probably do the math right, based on at least how much you watch movies, you can pick the specific type of movie pass card you want, and then also pick out that Cinemia card, and then be able to make it work out for you in a way that you're actually getting more for your money than you normally
Right.
would if just going on your own.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I gotta look into that. So, yeah, man. Glad you like the card.
Yeah, it's working out.
Yeah. Like I said, I remember back when I had it, I was working like a shift schedule where I was working like an evening shift. I remember it where I was working at the time, and I could go see a movie in like before work, like all the time. Like
Mm.
this was before I had kids, so it was just like, yeah. I mean, Movie Pass was a no-brainer, even at the higher price that I was paying compared to the $10 one now. Shit, $10. I mean
Yeah.
that's. And again, the only reason I hesitate now, I mean, yeah, the only reason I hesitate is just because I'm like, oh man, sometimes it's tough for me to actually get out and see movies in the theater these days. Like, otherwise, of course I would do it. Who you would have to anyway.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
no, you're right. You're right.
yeah. Well, thanks for joining me for this inaugural side effect, and hopefully we'll keep it up. So look out for these guys. And anything else before we go, Bobby?
No, I think that's it. I mean, I'm looking forward to doing more of these. Like you said, we don't get to talk news on the regular show as much as we'd like to, and this kind of gives us another way of being able to get into some of the news and express it a little bit. So I like it.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Hopefully we'll keep it up. So with that, I'm David Lott.
Bobby Jackson.
Thanks for listening, everybody.